Hello everyone, Chris, Suffolk record collector, back again with his first finds of the new year. Hope everyone had a great Christmas stuff, and we'll crack straight on, shall we? There's quite a few here to show, but we've got to start off with a very scarce reissue of quite a rare album from 1970. Backstory a bit. I first heard this record years ago when I was like 21, 22. It's always been on my radar. I have seen it a few times, but it's always been like a week's wages or more. Even back in the day, you know, in the 80s and stuff, it was still like, if I come across it once or twice then, and that was like a lot of money then. So, and it is even today a lot of money. So I say it was released in 1970. They went on and done a couple more albums, but they never ever done anything in the calibre of what this album is. It's in the hard rock vein from 1970. It was recorded in the UK, but they're not a UK band. They're a multi-European band, so, you know, but an amazing guitar player. And this has got links to Hawkwind, links to Peter Green. They had nothing to do with this album, but the guy who formed this band, that I'm going to show you the album from in a moment, was an original member of Hawkwind, guitar player, and he left literally weeks or a couple of months before going into the studio to record their first album, because he didn't like the way the band were going, and he was just the guitar player. So he said nah, and he went back to his native country and met up with three other guys, started jamming, and they thought that sounded good, so they formed a band. So what is the band? Okay, we'll show you. This is a 50th anniversary box set of Toad, and I'm so pleased to have this. So pleased. Anyone who knows this album, you'll know reissues of this are not even easy to find, and when that does get reissued, it gets reissued in like very small batches. Like this is 50th anniversary, and it was limited to 200 copies worldwide on black vinyl, and I believe there was a coloured vinyl at the same time by the same company, and there was only about 110 copies worldwide of the coloured vinyl, something like that, something like 125, something like that. So there's probably under 500 copies of this released. It's Toad's self-titled album from 1970. What an album. What an album. So what do you get with the box set? Okay, so you get the album, you get a little booklet that has got some very interesting facts in here. There's Victor Vergeet, founder of the band. There's a little picture of them here where they've done a concert together with let me have a look, Quatermass. So they appeared on stage together with Quatermass, each doing each other's songs. Back in the day, you get a poster. Like I said, this album's a 4-piece band, but the thing here is only a 3-piece, because shortly after, literally a month or so after this album was released, they decided to go a slightly different route and cut out vocals and just have a lot of hard rock guitar on very long tracks, and that's the way they went. But they never really captured the amazing brilliance of this. Now, this was released on a label called Akama, and I've got to say, this album sounds really good. I used to have a CD of this. It sounded awful. So really happy to have it finally on vinyl. Now, it comes with 2 other records. Okay, so it's a 3-album set. But, big but here. So, like the first album, like I said, sounds amazing, which is the actual album. I'll go through the tracks on here. Side 1, Cottonwood Hill, amazing. A Life That Ain't Worth Living, brilliant. Thank, and They Say I'm Mad, side 1. Side 2, Life Goes On, which is 11 minutes 48 and is just an absolute amazing track. And Pig's Walk, and the last track on side 2 is a track called The One I Mean. Now, when I said this had links to Peter Green, okay, it's to do with the track The One I Mean. Now, that's an acoustic track, okay. Now, he was great friends, Victor Vergeet was great friends with Peter Green. And Peter Green gave him one of his cherished acoustic guitars, which he plays on this track, The One I Mean. So that's the tie-in to Peter Green. But, right, side 2 is, before they got signed by RCA, because this album was released in the UK on RCA in 1970, but in Europe on a subsidiary label called Hallelujah. Now, I have never ever seen a UK pressing of this on the RCA label. Never ever seen one. The only ones I've seen this like half a dozen times in my life for sale, and like I say, each time must have been a week's wages, whichever time we were in. It's been a week's wages. Now this is an original on Hallelujah, either an Italian, a Swiss, or German copy, is going to cost you a minimum, I would think, of 400, possibly for a nice copy even more. They are rare, and they are, it's a very, 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 very good hard rock album. So who were Toad? Okay, so like I said, they're a 4-piece band. Okay, they are guitars, Victor Vergeet; drums, Cosimo Lampis; bass, Werner Froelich; and vocals, Benny Yeager. Now, they all, when he split from Hawkwind, he went back home because he's from Switzerland. So he went back home to Switzerland and met up with some other guys. They started jamming and they decided that it sounded good enough, they were going to have a band. Okay. And like I told you, just after this album was released, they decided to do away with vocals, which is a shame because the vocals on here are very, very good. But the problems now come with the other 2 records. Okay. Disc 2, prior to being signed by RCA, they were invited by EMI to do some studio time, and they cut an acetate for EMI, which promptly got rejected. So EMI were not going to record under EMI. So I think they went away, they started touring in the UK, and they got picked up by RCA. Another interesting fact, this album was recorded, it was told you in the booklet, in literally like 3 days, and they had that was recorded with virtually no overdubs at all, so just like single takes for the tracks. And the producer that year had also done the Deep Purple album in rock, which was Martin Birch, and he went on to be Deep Purple's favourite producer. So he really knew what he was doing. It shows on this record because this record is a great sounding record. But like I say, the problem is the acetate. I mean, when you play it, it's as though they have not mastered it or anything. Nothing to do like that at all. It's just as sounds on the tape, and it sounds fucking awful, really, really horrible. And disc 3, which is 45 RPMs and unreleased studio tracks, is a little bit better, but again, they haven't been mastered. I don't think they've done anything with them, just put on. But that is rare recordings, and I suppose this is they're all from the sessions, all related to this, and that's just the surviving stuff. But the two records that come with this, I don't think I'll ever play, because I've played them once, but they're not really sound wise. They're awful. But this was not expensive at all, so I was really pleased to get it. Yeah, great album. Heavy rock, bluesy in places, but the guitar playing is sensational. Victor Vergate, what a guitar player, absolutely fantastic. So that's Toad 50th anniversary edition. If you see this for cheap enough, get it, because it is a good album, but be warned, it's only going to be the main album really that sounds good. But I mean, saying that, original copies of this, like I said, hundreds of pounds, a lot of money. I've only ever seen the ones on the Hallelujah press, which is probably German or Italian or Swiss, but I've never seen a UK one. The UK ones, according to Discogs, are a lot cheaper. They go for about 200 quid. I've only ever seen the European ones, so perhaps the UK one's much rarer. People haven't caught on to it. I don't know, or is it to do with the label it's on? Because Hallelujah, which is was a subsidiary of RCA, similar sort of time to the Neon label. Might be something to do with that. I'm not 100%, but the European copy seems to be the ones that you're going to come across. But it's a great album. How can I put it? People who know this album know exactly what I'm talking about. It is that good. But, you know. Right, so next, what have we got? Right, a band that's new to me. I've got some of their stuff on CD compilations, but I've got no vinyl of this band at all. And I was searching on the market, and there was a box of blues records I was going through, and your normal sort of rubbish. And I come across this, and I thought, well, I never even heard of this album. I know the band, I've heard of the band, but I never really heard them. This was in a blues section. It is a little bit bluesy, but it's far more progressive than it is blues. It's a bit jazzy, progressive jazzy type thing, but not too bad. Anyway, that's the album Stonehenge by 10 Years After. This completely threw me, surprised me completely. What a great album. And this was no money at all. No money at all. 1969, UK first press. But even better than that, it's the original mono, which I think is a bit more scarce than the stereo. Onto RAM, with its original red mono inner. Great album. Reminds me a bit of, I was going to say Soft Machine. I suppose it does a bit, and then it doesn't. But yeah, it's a very progressive album. Alvin Lee, obviously guitar player. Great album. I really like it. I'm certainly going to be searching out for more stuff by 10 Years After. I've got a compilation album here, the Woodstock album. I'm pretty sure they're on there. Yeah. But that's 10 Years After. I'm definitely going to be looking for more, especially their early stuff, which I've heard that's the best. Right, next we've got a couple of albums, a couple of Stones albums, Rolling Stones. Now I don't have an awful lot of Rolling Stones records at all. I like the Stones. I've got a lot on CD. So I thought, well, I'm going to try and pick up my favourite ones on vinyl. Earliest pressings I can possibly afford. Because, again, Stones records can be a bit pricey, can't they? Anyway, this is not a first pressing. This is an early 70s reissue of the Stones' Let It Bleed. Great album. Great album. Cover designed by Delia Smith, as you well know. Probably all know that. That's on the Decca label. Box Decca. So I think this is probably from about 71, 72 perhaps. In beautiful, beautiful condition. Really, really is a nice one. Quite possibly my favourite Stones album. I'm not sure. I've got there's like half a dozen Stones records I'm looking for. Because I can't choose between them. They're that good for me. Not a huge fan. I wouldn't have everything the Stones have done, and I definitely fall off after the 70s. Stones get into the 80s, I don't quite like them quite so much. But obviously, iconic band. We all know the record, so I won't go into too much detail with it. Next, another Stones album. This one is, I was so lucky, so lucky. This is a first press, an original first press of Exile on Main Street. Great album. With it opens from the inside, so it's like one of those daft ones where the records go in here. And it came with its original set of 12 postcards. Can we see that? Original set of 12 postcards, which a lot of the times these are missing. I'm pretty sure these were only in the first pressing. Okay. Along with its original inners. Yeah, original inners. In lovely condition on, and obviously this is from 72, Rolling Stones records, on the Rolling Stones label, and I'm pretty sure this was the first one to be released on Rolling Stones' own label. I could be wrong, but I think it is. Again, we all know the record. Fantastic album. Really, I mean, I can't choose which is the better one between the two I've got. I don't know. I love them both. You know, the same. Great album. Great records. Right, next is, this is a first press again. Not Stones, different band altogether. This is a first US pressing. Very hard to find this. This is a hard to find record. I'm going to say it's rare, but we don't come across it here. I mean, maybe in the States you may come across it far more. But this is a first US press of ZZ Top's second album, Rio Grande Mud. And this is in fantastic condition. Nice big thick cardstock cover, which is synonymous to American pressings, isn't it? And also this picture on the back has been like stuck on there, so it's not printed on. That was printed on a separate bit of paper and then stuck on. Yeah. It came with its original inner, which is always nice to have the original inners with them. And like I say, it's the first press on London label. in beautiful, beautiful condition. I don't think this had ever been played. I seriously don't. It wasn't that expensive either. It wasn't expensive. Early ZZ Top records on London can be a bit pricey. They can. Not everybody prices them the same, do they? So, excellent album. Really good. Like I say, the second album from '72. Yeah, '72. Side 1 is Francine, Just Got Paid, Mushmouth Shouting, Cocoa Blue Chevrolet. Side 2, Apologies to Pearly, Barbecue, Sure Got Cold After the Rain Fell, Whiskey and Mama, and Down Brownie. Great album. It's really, really good. Bluesy, hard rock in places, like hard blues rock. Really good. A really young Billy Gibbons there, look, without a beard. Yeah, great stuff. So pleased to have found it. But not only when I found that one, I found another first press ZZ Top album. This time UK press. And that is Fandango. Fandango. This is from '75. Not as good, but still very, very good. This contains the track Tush, which you probably all know. Side 1 is live, and side 2 is studio. Great album. Highly recommended. I mean, I had this when I was a young kid. I say young kid, about 18, 19. I had a cassette of it, an original cassette. But again, this is on London labels. So it's on the purple London. Beautiful condition. It is really in nice condition. Don't think this had ever been played either. Really, really pleased to have this. Comes in its original Decca inner. So that's those. Next is an album we all know, and I used to have a copy of this years and years ago, but I got rid of it because it didn't play very well. It didn't sound very good either. So I've been just recently been looking to put this into the collection. But I thought, what pressing do I look for? So I did a bit of research, and I come up. I thought, okay, well, I'll have a look, and I managed to find one. And that's the Who album, Who's Next. Okay. Now this is a reissue from '74, I believe. 73 or 74. It was originally released in 70, wasn't it? 71, 70. Was it 70? Oh, what I say, 1970? 71. It's on track, still on track. But this one is etched. This is a 4 B3, okay, and it's signed Bilbo on both sides. So the guy who cut I can't think of what his name is now, but the guy who cut the thingy for this is that's his signature. Okay, now we all know the album, but I was told that's probably one of the best pressings you can get of this. It was cheap, and it's in beautiful condition, and Jesus Christ, it's a complete to what I used to have. I didn't have the same system then, I know, but I got a different system. But it sounds fantastic. It's full on, lots of power. And again, that was very, very cheap. Very cheap. Probably because it's not first, it's reissue. But yeah, they'd recut the lacquers. And this guy, who Bill Buck, I think what his name is now, but he was responsible for cutting the lacquers. And that's a really good sounding record. So that's the Who's next. See, a lot of these, I'm not spending a lot of time because we all know what these records are. They're just finding it into the collection. Next, a rock album from '74 that it's not easy to find today. I managed to find this copy. It wasn't expensive, but they can be a bit pricey. And that's debut album by Kiss. And I love this album. I really, really do like this album. It contains some of the great tracks. I mean, it's got Strutter on here, Cold Gin, where are we? Black Diamond, Deuce. You know, it's a great album. UK first press, lovely condition. Look at that, 1974 original. Look at that, spine all nice. It's got some general wear, starting a little bit of ring wear on the front. If you can see that, it's just starting in places. As I say, this is their first album from '74. And it's in lovely, lovely condition. Look at this. Look at that. It's in lovely condition. On the blue Casablanca. Hard to find today. And these are creeping up to sort of 40, 50 quid. You know, some people. And I would class that as near mint. The vinyl's near mint. It's a VG Plus cover, but nearly near mint. I don't like calling second-hand records near mint. You know what I'm like. But yeah, that's getting there. That's getting there. Like I say, we all know these records. They're all fairly famous. Next, ultra cheap album, double album I picked up. It's a French press, an original French pressing, first French pressing. Whether we got this in the UK or not, I don't know. We may have got it in a slightly different form or whatever. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, that's just called Slade. Like I say, this is a double album, French press. Probably from around about 1980, 81, 82, something like that. But what I found interesting about this is the track listing. Okay, so anyone who knows Slade, you'll know what I mean when I say, you know. So, side one, disc one, side one. Starts off Goodbye to Jane, then you got Raven, Let the Good Times Roll, Wild Winds Are Blowing, I Don't Mind, I Remember. Side B, Look What You Done, Pook Hill, Goodbye Goodbye, Angelina, Look at Last Night and Miles Out to Sea. Disc 2, side A, Mama We're All Crazy Now, Know Who You Are, Dirty Joker, Move Over, Cause I Love You, I Won't Let It Happen Again. And side D, Get Down and Get With It, Squeeze Me Please Me, One Way Hotel, Just Want a Little Bit, Could I, and Darling Be Home Soon. Great album. This cost me like, I don't know, 7, 8 quid, something like that. And it sounds brilliant. And it is on Polydor, slightly different, just so you can see, because it's a slightly different Polydor label. There is no date on here. I should have looked on Discogs, shouldn't I? I haven't actually put this onto Discogs yet, to be fair. But beautiful condition. Great sounding record, love it. It's got a lot of early stuff on here as well. So it is comp, but it's a comp worth having in my book. So if you ever see this, grab it, because I didn't pay a lot of money for this. I'm sure you don't have to pay a lot of money for this at all. Very good. Very good. Right, and last we're there. the last record. A few videos ago, I shoot Leonard Cohen's first album, and I was really excited to find it. It's not a rare record, is it? But you know, a US first press here in the UK of his first album. You know, on the 2i Columbia label. Not easy to find, is it? Well, bugger me if I didn't come across something else again. US first press from 1969 of Leonard Cohen's second album, Songs from a Room, and this was cheap, so cheap. It's like a tenner for an original first press. Look at that, in really nice condition. Really nice condition. If you see the front, if you could see that there where it's reading, the top of the print is folded over. There you go. So the top of the print is folded over. They righted that in previous pressings of this, and it's on. I'll just show you the vinyl. It's on the 2i Columbia. Really nice condition. Really nice. So I've now got the first two Leonard Cohen albums on original pressings, US pressings, which to me is just wow. I'm happy to have found all of these records. To be fair, every record I've put into the collection here is, in my book, an absolute. You know, they're absolutely blinding records. But to get a first US press Leonard Cohen from '69 in really nice condition, you know, it was a no-brainer. So really pleased to have it. Is it as good as the first album? No, I don't think so. It's very good, but you know, that first album is a little bit special, isn't it? Songs of Leonard Cohen is, you know, a little bit special, but Songs from a Room, it's very good. It's very good. Right, so that's everything. So I'm caught up again for a while. I want to thank everyone who subscribes and comments and thumbs up. It's always appreciated. Thank you very much. Yeah, so stay good, everyone, and we'll chat again soon. Cheers.